Okay, guys, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you're given alerts for all our video uploads and live streams. So today I was gonna have a talk about the new, I say new series. It's recently come out on Netflix. Cobra Kai. It was originally a YouTube series. I'm not sure if it still is, but it was on here. But it's now on Netflix. 2 seasons. I actually managed to get through these within 2 days. There's 10 episodes per season, and they're around about half an hour an episode. So I'm going to do a spoiler-free bit, and then we're going to get into more of the spoilers. So I'll alert you when we get to that, so that way, if you haven't watched it, you can turn off. So basically, if you're a fan of the original Karate Kid movies, and when I say original, I mean 1, 2, and 3. 4 doesn't really get brought up. Because fourth one was obviously the next Karate Kid. I imagine if you're the same as me, you didn't really class that with the others. So, basically, it's very nostalgic. I can tell you that, in on the spoilers, obviously. You do have the original cast. And when I say the original cast, there are a few members, but again, I'll leave more about that in the spoilers. Although it's present day, it does refer back to things that went on in the past, obviously relating to the movies. Again, I won't go into detail on what they are because it's spoiler free. And it's really good. If you're a fan of the original Karate Kids, and especially if you grew up in the 80s, you definitely want to watch this. Really enjoyable, and it puts a nice little spin on things as well. I'm not going to go into that until the spoilers part, but it's kind of difficult because there's a lot that I want to talk about, but I can't talk about it until we get to the spoilers part because anything I say at this point could pretty much spoil it. So I'm having to be quite conservative here. All I'd suggest is if you was a fan of the original 3 movies, watch this. You won't be disappointed. Obviously, time's moved on. It's present day. And you're probably thinking to yourself, what more can they bring from this story? But you'd be surprised. So with that, I'm going to say give it a watch if you haven't seen it. And then I'm going to give a little space of time because we're going to go into spoilers. Right, okay. Spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it, turn this off, go and watch it, come back to it. Right, okay. So basically with this series, we start off with Johnny, who was the original bully. Him and his group of other mates in the first film, the Cobra Kai. And we start off with him, obviously, as an adult. He's a handyman, he's a drunk. He's pretty much stuck where he was. And life's not treating him too good. As the series goes on, we realise that there's more to Johnny than you might have thought from the first film. He encounters a kid getting beaten up and he intervenes, which is interesting because it's very similar to what happened in the first Karate Kid movie where Miyagi defends Daniel-san. So, only this time we see Johnny do it with a young kid called Miguel. And with that, Miguel then starts saying to him, "Can you teach me?" And as the story goes on, he opens Cobra Kai again. At first, he starts off with the same motto they had with the original Cobra Kai, which was strike first, strike hard, no mercy. But as time goes on, he starts to realise that this isn't the way. So what also happens in this series is that Johnny runs into Daniel LaRusso. Now, or Daniel-san. So basically, Daniel is a very successful businessman who's got a string of automotive companies. He's a car dealer, he repairs them, etc., etc. Very successful. And everywhere Johnny goes, all he sees is these billboards of him or adverts on the TV. At one point, he even throws a bottle of beer at the TV because he's fed up with seeing him on his TV and he can't get the channel to change. So we've got two ends of the spectrum here. Daniel runs into Johnny because there's been an incident where Johnny's car's got completely totaled. It's a very old car anyway. And you'll find out later on who it is that causes this incident. And Daniel offers to repair it for free. Johnny doesn't want to take this because he obviously still has an issue with him. And eventually he just lets him do it. As the series goes on, we start seeing things from Johnny's point of view, which puts a nice little spin or twist onto the story. Obviously, if you watch the movie, it's from Daniel's point of view, and all you see is him getting bullied. But of course, you now are hearing it from Johnny's point of view. The first series revolves around Johnny a lot. For example, one of the things he points out that was an issue with Daniel was Harry coming to the area and he took his girlfriend. Okay, not exactly spot on. We know from the first film that they'd split up, there'd been an incident. But from his point of view, Daniel took his girlfriend. So that caused immediate friction. Then there's the fact that he mentions that Daniel rubbed it in his face, when they were getting ready for the competition, that they couldn't touch him. So he was going out of his way to irritate him. The fact that he soaked him in the shower, which of course was what led to Miyagi having to defend him when he was minding his own business, which again is true, he was. And how he used an illegal kick in the competition, which I suppose you could say is an illegal kick. You don't see anybody else use it in the competition. So it's interesting. All of a sudden you're now seeing this from the bad guy's point of view. So it puts a nice little twist on it. But as the story goes on, it gets a lot more complicated. We find out that Johnny's got a son and he's not a very nice guy. And he sort of wingles his way in with Daniel, getting a job and that. And then Daniel starts training him and eventually he starts changing his mind. He likes Daniel, etc. So now we've got an issue where Daniel, who's Johnny's mortal enemy, is training his estranged son. So, and this son doesn't like Johnny, obviously, because he hasn't had much to do with him in his life. And he's got a mum that he's stuck with, that's always out with different guys all the time, and he's pretty much left on his own. We also meet Daniel's daughter, which, as I said earlier, there's an incident where Johnny's car gets smashed up. Well, it's one of her friends that plows her four-wheel drive into his car. So again, more animosity. And it leads to competition, like the first movie. Miguel being, if you like, the new Johnny. Various other kids that have all got a bit of a mean streak now, thanks to Cobra Kai. And just before the competition, Daniel finds out what Johnny's son was up to and tells him to get out. He has no idea that he's going to turn up at this competition representing himself. And eventually, by the end of the episode, Daniel's now, talking advice to him, what he should do, what he shouldn't do, etc. And, he's now with his guy for the competition. So, and that's pretty much where we leave the end of the first season, except for one big thing that drops, and that's when you find out that Johnny's sensei is back on the scene. So, as we know, not a very nice guy. He was the one telling Johnny to sweep a leg, etc., use illegal moves, no mercy. And obviously the other part of this is that he also tried to kill Johnny at the beginning of the second film, which starts straight after the competition. So he obviously has his issues with him. So anyway, second season, he starts to take his old sensei in, Johnny does, and he finds out fairly quickly in the season that his old sensei is homeless, and that the stories he's been telling him about training troops in Afghanistan, that is all rubbish. So he takes him under his wing. And what he doesn't realise is that this guy is behind the scenes twisting things and trying to turn these lads to his way of thinking. Because by the end of the first season, Johnny's changed a bit, and he's telling them that the no mercy part, like, you hit a guy with his back turned, you hit a guy where he was injured, this is not the way. So he's changed, he's evolved a bit, his character's progressing. But obviously his old sensei's coming in the second season, and he's undoing all of that. Daniel decides he's going to reopen Miyagi-Do, and you see Miyagi's old stomping ground, his house and all that. It's all done up by all the kids, and he's using the same techniques that Miyagi used on him, the wax on, wax off, etc. And his answer is that he wants to teach the kids the right way of doing karate, and that he wants to put Cobra Kai out of business. And the way he does this is by offering training for free. So as it goes on, we see the rivalry get worse, and at one stage they do start to look like they're clearing the area, him and Johnny, but then something else goes wrong. And by the end of the season, we find out that Johnny's old sensei basically has ripped his business out from under his feet. Johnny goes on a little journey, he gets a phone call, and off he goes. And this is where we see the original lads that were with him in the first film. We only see them for the one episode, but you see Bobby, you see Tommy, and I think the other one might be Jimmy. You find out Tommy's got some sort of terminal illness, I'm guessing cancer, and he's dying, so they sneak him out of the hospital, and they basically go on a road trip on their motorbikes. So, bit of a callback to the original film. While they're on this road trip, they get in a fight in a pub or bar, and obviously the Cobra Kai guys of old clean house. But you do realise very quickly that Bobby, one of the less aggressive lads out of the bunch in the first film, he's become a man of God. He's a preacher. And when he finds out that Johnny's old sensei's come back and he's giving him a chance, he's telling him this is wrong. The way you taught us was wrong. All this no mercy rubbish, sending us out in the world to get into trouble. And they touch on Dutch. Dutch was one of the other lads. He was one of the aggressors. He's actually the one that picks a fight with Daniel when he's getting ready for the competition. You find out he's in prison. So clearly the way of life that they was taught got him in trouble. So anyway, long and short of it, Tommy dies while they're on the road trip. And he goes back a bit of a broken man and finds out that while he's been gone, his old sensei has snatched the business out from under his feet. So at the end of the season, Johnny's back to square one. He's a drunk. He's got nothing. Right at the very end, he gets a call from Ali, which was Daniel's girlfriend in the first film, Johnny's ex. Because through the series, Miguel's taught him social media and all this sort of stuff. So he reached out on Facebook, and she accepts his friend request. But of course, things are going off the rails. He throws his phone across the beach so he doesn't see the acceptance come up. He leaves the car that Daniel gave him, which he has designed in the Cobra Kai style. He leaves that with the keys in it, and he wanders off, and that's where it leaves it. We do know there's a third season coming. They do actually say at the end of it that there will be a third one. But basically, both our characters are left in a situation where, are we doing the right thing? Daniel's wife's not happy because he's left her with a car business to run. He's so busy concentrating on his rivalry and his karate. So he's at a point where his kids have just got in a major fight. Miguel's been shoved off a balcony and falls. He's in hospital. So he feels quite responsible. And like I say, the part with his business. So he's in a bad place. So basically, both our characters are both in a very bad place and they're licking their wounds, if you like. And that's where we leave it. Obviously, we've got a lot of nostalgia in this. One of the things I like is when they're referencing incidents that happened in the previous films, you actually see clips from the movies. They're all proper clips from the films as well. You know, no replacement actors. It's the actual proper footage, which is good. Like when he says to his sensei, "You tried to kill me," and then you see the clip where he's got him in a chokehold. And then when you see the rest of the Cobra Kai boys, you know, that he was with at the time, when he meets up with them, they're talking and you see clips of them. And you've got the original music. A lot of the songs that you hear in the very first movie come up in this again. And there's little references everywhere. You see the original gis that they used in the competition as well as training. Johnny's headband, you know, he's still rocking it. You see the red coat or red jacket he wears when he has his first fight with Daniel on the beach. The little drum that Mr. Miyagi uses in Karate Kid 2. And you hear him reference, I can't remember his first name, something Silver, Mr. Silver. He was the guy that come in the third film that tricked Daniel into getting more aggressive and all that. And then you find out that the original evil sensei from the first film is behind it all. So there's little throwbacks everywhere and clips and all sorts. You even see the original place that he takes Ali on a date to, you know, the arcades and all that. You see all of that. It looks a bit more rundown, but you do see it. And, you know, all these things. So, and you do find out a lot of things about Johnny's character, especially. You find out that he lived with his stepdad. He was bullied. You know, although he was classed as a rich kid, life wasn't that great for him. And when his mum died, everything just fell apart. So you know, you do kind of feel sorry for him, especially by the end of season 2, which is funny because when you watch the first film, all you want to see is Daniel kick the crap out of him. But when you get to this, you know, it's like everything. There's two sides to every story. Things aren't always as black and white as you may think. There's always an era of grey in it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I did. I really enjoyed it. And in fact, I enjoyed it that much that after I'd finished season 2, I actually went and watched Karate Kid. Because, you know, it's like, oh, you know, after watching this, I really want to watch that film again. So I did. And this is a side note. It's on Netflix to watch for free, but also you've got the first 3 and maybe the next Karate Kid all on Amazon Prime for free, including the 4K edition of the first film, which is what I watched it on. Yeah, you know, it's very good. It hooks you in big time. Like I say, if you're a fan of the original film, you'll like this. But obviously, if you've got this far, you've already watched it. If you have, however, not watched it and wanted to find out if it's worth watching, and you've got this far, my advice is go and give it a watch. It's really good. You won't be disappointed. A lot of callbacks. If you're an 80s kid like me, there's nostalgia everywhere. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely give this like a 9 out of 10. It was really good. So, anyway, I'm going to leave things there. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment. Something I need to start mentioning. The other thing is we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be below if you want to join any of them. Hit the notification bell so that you're made aware of any future videos and live streams, and that does really help. It will give you an alert every time we do something. And take care, stay safe. Nerdy Geezer out.